Here, we delve into the power of sports beyond entertainment, exploring how games and athletic competition shape the cultural, political, social, and economic landscapes of nations. It's not just about goals, records, or trophies. It's about influence, identity, nationalism, diplomacy, and power. Love what you're watching. Scan the QR on the screen. Join the community. The first realm in which sports exert a nation-shaping power is national identity. Sports are potent tools through which people find and assert a collective sense of identity. This is particularly evident in nations emerging from colonial rule or undergoing socio-political transformation. For instance, in post-apartheid South Africa, the 1995 Rugby World Cup played a pivotal role in uniting a divided nation. Under the leadership of Nelson Mandela, the government used the predominantly white-supported sport of rugby as a symbol of reconciliation and national unity. Mandela wore the Springbok jersey, a symbol once associated with apartheid, to support the team, signalling an embrace of all cultures within South Africa. When the Springboks won the World Cup, it ignited a wave of unity among the racially fractured population. Similarly, in countries like Brazil, football is more than a sport, it is an element of national pride. Brazil's identity on the global stage is significantly tied to its footballing heritage, with legends like Pelé and Ronaldo embodying the country's cultural richness and exuberance. Through World Cup victories and international recognition, Brazil has used football to position itself as a powerful nation culturally and symbolically. The second domain where sports shape nations is through political expression and influence. Governments have long understood the capacity of sports to promote ideologies, legitimize regimes, and manipulate public opinion. The 1936 Berlin Olympics is a prime historical example. Adolf Hitler used the event as a propaganda tool to showcase Nazi Germany's supposed superiority and modernity. The grand scale of the Games, the use of media and film, notably by Leni Riefenstahl, and the nationalistic fervor surrounding the event aimed to elevate the Nazi regime in the eyes of both Germans and the international community. Ironically, the triumphs of African-American athlete Jesse Owens, who won 4 gold medals, contradicted the Nazi racial ideology, highlighting how sports can also undermine political narratives. More recently, Russia's hosting of the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi was a strategic effort by Vladimir Putin to project Russian strength and modernization, even as the country faced criticism over human rights abuses and political repression. The significant state investment in the Games and the aggressive media campaign around it were all part of crafting a particular image of Russia as a resurgent global power. These examples underscore how sports events are more than contests. They are stages for political messaging. The third powerful role sports play is in international diplomacy and soft power. Known as sports diplomacy, this concept refers to the use of sports to bridge divides, initiate dialogue, and foster peaceful international relationships. A famous example is the Ping-Pong Diplomacy between the United States and China in the early 1970s. After years of hostilities following the Chinese Communist Revolution, relations between the US and China began to thaw when American table tennis players were invited to China in 1971. This simple gesture laid the groundwork for President Richard Nixon's historic visit to China in 1972, ultimately leading to the normalization of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Sports created a non-threatening, apolitical channel through which dialogue could begin. In a more contemporary context, North and South Korea have occasionally used sports as a medium for reconciliation. During the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, both countries marched under a unified flag during the opening ceremony and even fielded a joint women's ice hockey team. These symbolic gestures, though not always followed by lasting political change, nonetheless demonstrate the unique ability of sports to open doors that traditional diplomacy might struggle to unlock. Another significant area where sports shape nations is economic development and infrastructure transformation. Hosting major sporting events can lead to substantial investment in infrastructure, job creation, and international tourism. Nations often use sports as a catalyst to jumpstart development projects and boost global visibility. The 2008 Beijing Olympics are a prime example. China invested over $40 billion in infrastructure, building world-class stadiums like the Bird's Nest, revamping its transportation systems, and beautifying cities. The event was not merely a showcase of athletic prowess, but a declaration of China's arrival as a major global power. Similarly, the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa was the first ever held on the African continent and served as a springboard for economic development and tourism promotion. The country built new stadiums, upgraded airports, and expanded transportation networks. Although critics argue that such investments often burden host nations with debt and underused infrastructure, sometimes termed white elephants, proponents believe the long-term gains in national branding and economic stimulation can be substantial. In Qatar, the 2022 FIFA World Cup saw unprecedented investment in facilities, cities, and technology, transforming the nation's global image despite controversy over labor rights. These examples highlight the economic dimension of sports as not merely auxiliary, but central to nation building and international strategy. Finally, the fifth domain is the social transformation driven by sports, particularly in the areas of inclusivity, activism, and societal norms. Sports have been pivotal in advancing gender equality, racial justice, and LGBTQ+ visibility. One historic moment is the breaking of the color barrier in Major League Baseball by Jackie Robinson in 1947. His entry into the previously segregated sport marked a turning point, not just for baseball, but for American society, challenging entrenched racial prejudices and inspiring broader civil rights movements. Likewise, the rise of female athletes on global platforms has been crucial in challenging patriarchal norms and advocating for gender parity. The U.S. women's national soccer team, particularly under figures like Megan Rapinoe, has not only dominated the sport, but also pushed for equal pay, LGBTQ+ rights, and racial justice. Their activism has stirred public discourse and prompted legal and institutional change. Another powerful example is the gesture by NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who kneeled during the national anthem to protest police brutality. Though controversial, his act sparked global conversations about racism, free speech, and the role of athletes in political discourse. In countries like India, the rise of women in cricket and wrestling has begun to shift gender expectations in traditionally conservative regions. Sports, in this sense, are not just reflections of society, they are agents of change, arenas where battles over equality and justice are waged and won. In summary, the empire of the game encompasses vast territories of influence, national identity, political power, diplomatic strategy, economic development, and social transformation. These 5 dimensions reveal how deeply embedded sports are in the fabric of nationhood and international relations. Scan the QR to join the community.